All right, everyone. This is going to be the answer key walkthrough video for the Slope-Intercept quiz study guides. The quiz is going to be on Monday, so make sure that you take a look at this, or at the very least, look over the answer keys the answer key that I'm going to post on Canvas. I am going to try to do this quickly. In class today, we did talk about a lot of these problems. I'm going to try to do these quickly. If I do it too fast for you, wait until Monday. Circle the question. We can talk about that before the quiz. Anyway, here we go. For number 1 and 2, we are writing the equation of the line in slope-intercept form and then graphing the equation of the line. You can read your points there. I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So when you substitute that in, your slope will be -4 times x, y-intercept is 2. There you go. To graph this, start by plotting your y-intercept, which is 2. My numbers are kind of blurry, so I'm going to count by the lines. There's 1, there's 2. So I'm going to go ahead, plot my point right there. You can plot I guess from there we're going to use slope. So I'm going to make that -4 into a fraction real quick, and then I have a rise and a run. My rise is -4. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my run is 1. So it should be right there. Okay. You can plot as many points as you want. I only need 2 to show. My goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. I only need 2 points. Technically, I need the y-intercept, and then I need you to use the slope 1 time. So that's it. But I am going to do my best to graph this line. That's not my best, but it will work for now. Remember the 2 things that I need when you plot your points, or when you draw your line, is you need to go all the way across the coordinate plane, and you need to have arrows. Okay, so that would be number 1. Number 2, slope is 1/2. Y-intercept is -3. So in slope-intercept form, it should be y equals the slope times x plus your y-intercept. In this case, it was negative, so I subtracted it. All right. So my y-intercept is -3. 1, 2, 3 should be here, starting from the origin. My slope is 1/2, so that's up 1, right 2. Remember, rise is on top, run is on bottom. All right. So when I have as many points as I need, draw a line making sure that it is straight, has arrows, and goes all the way across the coordinate plane. I didn't mention this in class, but I will have my rulers available for you. All right, so there's 1 and 2. Number 3, write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line shown in the given graph. Remember to identify the slope and the y-intercept. Your guys' graphs were, the longer we went throughout the day, your guys' graphs stunk. So if you can see on mine, it's not fantastic, but it will work. Our y-intercept is here, and then we'll use the slope. So that is at 1, 2, 3. Y-intercept is 3. We'll use that y-intercept as one of the 2 points. Slope is rise over run, so I'm going to rise down -4, run out 5. So my slope is -4/5. When I put that into the equation, it'll be y equals the slope times x plus the y-intercept. It does look like my screen is lagging. That has been a theme today, and frankly, I'm sick of it. I'm going to zoom out. My screen might jump here, but I am going to, yep, there she goes. I am going to have 3 still shown, and I'm going to go ahead and go through 4. It will hopefully come through here. But on number 4, I'm going to find my y-intercept. There it is. I'm going to find my y-intercept, which is 1. Okay, I think Yeah, I'm good enough to zoom in here. My y-intercept is 1. My slope is going to go from point to point. So I'm going to find my rise, which looks to be 2. My run, which is 3. So my slope would be 2/3, meaning my equation will be y equals the slope times x plus the y-intercept of 1. All right. I believe that takes care of the first page, if I'm not mistaken. Number 5 and 6. These are ones that I would definitely check the left side of the front page of the 3.9 notes. That's basically what we did here. So we need to write these equations in slope-intercept form, given what we have here. So on 5, slope-intercept form, you need the slope and the y-intercept. It gives us the slope, so we're good there. To find the y-intercept, we're going to use slope-intercept form. So it's this. And we're going to have to substitute in what we know. So slope is m, that's there. The coordinate that they give us is an x and a y coordinate. So those x and y coordinates correspond with the x and y in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to say this is a -2 equals the slope of 2/3 times 3, which is the x coordinate, plus the y-intercept, right? What we're going to do now is just solve for b. When I do that, I get on the left side -4 equals the y-intercept of b. So I have my slope, I have my y-intercept. Y equals slope times x minus 4 for that y-intercept. Okay. That one's not awful. The next one has one extra step. So in 6, we are not given our slope, so we need to find it. To find our slope, we need to use the slope formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Call this ordered pair 1, this ordered pair 2. And then it's filled just like on the left side, or number 5, it's filled with x and y coordinates. So substitute. That's what we have to do. The y value from my second order pair is 4. The y value from my first order pair is -2. So we'll take 4 minus -2 divided by the x from my second order pair minus the x from my first order pair. When you do that math, 4 minus -2 is 6. -1 minus 2 is -3 for a slope of -2. Okay. Now we have the slope, so we're going to do the same thing that we did on 5. So you're going to substitute your slope and one of the ordered pairs, lagging again, slope and one of the ordered pairs into slope-intercept formula. Y equals mx plus b. We are lagging. I'm going to go ahead and go forward with this. This y can be either one of these. Same with the x. It can be either one of these, but they do have to come from the same ordered pair. Really lagging. Yikes. So I'm going to use the first ordered pair in this one. Okay. So the y value there is -2. Slope we just found to also be -2. The x value from that first order pair is 2. So I substitute that in and then solve for b. That does give us our y-intercept. We already have the slope. Put it into the equation. Lovely. Okay, so that takes care of 5 and 6. We are halfway home already, and this video is probably only I don't know, it's probably like 15 minutes at this point already. Number 7, there's a lot of information here. I don't want to read it all for the sake of time. You guys can read it on your own. But I am going to highlight a few things. It wants us to graph the equation, interpret the slope, the rate of change, and then we're going to predict. I'm going to do the prediction 2 different ways just to show you how that's going to go. So I'm going to use the equation that they give us in here to graph. All right. First one says graph. All you need is the equation. So I'm going to use that. So y equals 10x plus 30. 10 is your slope. I'm going to make that into a fraction. 10 or 10 over 1. Your y-intercept is 30, and that is where we are going to start this. Yeah, so the y-intercept is always on the y-axis, which is the vertical line here. Y-intercept is at 30. From there, we will use our slope, meaning we're going to go up 10 and right 1. Still lagging. Our y-axis is actually counting by 10, so what it's going to look like is going up 1 square and then going right 1, because our x's are 1. So you can take that, draw your line. I realized I just missed 2 points because I skipped reading the directions. Hopefully some of you are calling me out on your own time there. It does say you get 2 points for correctly labeling each axis. What that means is not x and y. What it means comes from the problem of, I thought I remember highlighting something. Comes from the problem. So our total cost, y, so that would be the y-axis, total cost, for a camping trip for X nights. So I've got nights down for my x-axis, okay? So I guess I may want to read where my points come from. 2 for correctly labeling each axis, 3 for the graph, got that. We need to do the interpretation and then the 4 nights thing. So the slope is always the rate of change, so it's 10 and 1, what we have here. What that's going to be, according to the problem, is 10 cents, $10 per night. So that is going to be the cost per night to camp, which is going to be, I'll do it over here, $10 per night. All right, that'll work. The y-intercept is always going to be the starting or the initial value. So I'm going to say this is the initial cost of camping. It was also discussed throughout the day. There's another way that I would kind of take this, or another acceptable answer, and it is up here if my screen ever loads. This is awful. Has it shown it yet? No. Anyway, it's the entrance fee. Okay, so it's the initial cost of camping, which in the problem itself is the entrance fee. Okay, so I would take that, and you will see that once the screen decides to load. This is awful. I'm so sorry, guys. We were doing fine all day. I think I've left it on this long enough to where when it does finally move, you should see everything. The next thing it says is use the graph to determine the total cost for 4 nights. You can use the graph. Okay, you don't have to, but you can. I'm going to use the graph. I know that my nights is X, so I'm going to circle 4 and take my line vertically going up to where it will hit the blue line that I just drew. Whenever it hits that, I'm going to go left and see what our cost is. And it does look like our cost is going to be $80. 4 nights, $80. Okay, so for 4 nights should be $80. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to use the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go y equals mx plus b, substitute in my slope, which it gives me as 10, substitute in the x, which it gives me, remember x is nights, so I'm going to substitute in the 4 nights. Oh boy, something's going to be weird here. Plus b is 30. When I do this, something interesting happened that didn't happen all day. We have a difference in our slopes. Okay, nice talking point. Going to run on for a few minutes here. If this happens, trust, if you do it both ways, which you don't, get good at one way, but trust the formula. Okay, the formula is much more accurate. I believe if I was going to go back and regraph this, I swear this only happened today. Let me erase this. If I graph this thing correctly, so that's my y-intercept, up 10 over 1, up 10 over 1. I'm going to go a little bit more here. Okay. If I draw this correctly, making sure I go through all of those points, it should hit right here. Okay. So graph is not always accurate, but this one is. Okay. The equation is. So it should be not 80. Just proved why it wasn't. It should be $70. And if you're just going to check the answer key on this, you will probably be very confused. That's okay. Good talking points for Monday. Number 8. This one is the one that you guys had not seen before, but you know how to do all of it. In class, we talked about making sure that both of your pieces of information are in the same form. What I mean by that is store A is in the graph, store B is given by the equation y equals 0.10x. Okay. You need to put them in the same form. The way that I did this was I took my graph and turned it into slope-intercept form. You can try to graph this, but with those decimals, I wouldn't recommend it. Here's how I did this, though. I need a slope, and I need a y-intercept. Slope is going to be the let's not deal with the slope yet. Let's deal with the y-intercept. Y-intercept is going to be where your line crosses the y-axis. This line technically crosses the y-axis at 0. So knowing that it's 0, you don't have to use it. All right. The slope is going to be the rise over the run, which in this case, we're going to go up and over. I am going to plot a few points here because my picture is not great and your guys' paper is probably worse. I'm going to plot some of these points here. Then what I'm going to do is take a look at my X, see that my number of cookies is counting by 1, so there's no main issues there. But my cost is counting by 0.5. So what I'm going to do, and what I did in class, is I'm going to start at 1, and I'm going to go to 2, because that's going to give me a rise of 1 exactly. So here is where 1 is. I'm going to go up until I hit that line of 2, and then I'm going to go to the right to hit, to complete my rise and run. So when I went up, I didn't go up 2, because remember, each of these is going up by a half, and that's why I kind of put this 1 here. So my rise is a 1, according to the numbers. My run, since my cookies are going by 1s, 1, 2, 3, 4, my run is 4. So in this case, I've got a rise of 1 and a run of 4, which, if I put that into a decimal form, would be 0.25. Okay, that's what I'm going to use. Y equals 0.25x. Going through these, and I'm not going to go through every single one like I did in class, A is the correct claim or the correct statement here, because 0.25 is bigger than 0.10. So cookies at store A cost 25 cents. Cookies at store B cost 10 cents. That's what that boils down to. A couple more. Number 9. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the table shown. I would recommend that when you do these types of problems, you first realize that time is always x, which means your other label is going to be y. I would also recommend understanding that each of these are ordered pairs, ordered pairs that you could plot on a coordinate plane. All right. I'm going to solve this the long way because not everybody asked about this question, so you're going to be confused about the short way to do this. But we need to find the slope, which we will have to use y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Or you could understand that these are going up by 60. These are going up by 2, and 60 divided by 2 is 30. But I'm going to solve it the long way. I am going to use, I'll use that one. That's pretty easy. Pretty easy numbers. So if this is my second order pair, this is my first order pair. A lot of numbers on there. The y value from my second order pair is 60. Y value from my first order pair is 0. X value from my second order pair is 2 minus 0. It's going to give me a slope of 60 over 2, which is what we just found out, but it's really just going to be 30. Okay, so your slope is 30. Then, when we find our slope, we have to use the slope-intercept formula. Y equals mx plus b. And one of our points, I am going to use 0, 0. And there's two reasons why I'm doing that. One, it is a point that's on this, so it will get you your y-intercept. 2, watch what the y-intercept is. When I plug in a 0 for y, plug in my slope of 30 for x, and a 0 for x. 0 is on the left side. 30 times 0 is 0. So really, you just found your y-intercept. So you don't even need to plug the y-intercept back into the equation. So your y-intercept here is 0. So the equation is going to be y equals 30x plus 0 or 30x. Okay. The short way to do this is understanding that your y-intercept is an ordered pair, and that ordered pair is at the point 0 something. Okay. That has an x of 0. What is the y when x is 0? Well, the y is also 0, so you can just look at that point and say, oh, there's my ordered pair. It's 0. Or not ordered pair, my slope-intercept form. It's 0. Okay? Last question. Hopefully this time is not getting too outrageous. Like I said, try to go kind of quick on this. On this one, you are going to, you're solving for y, putting this into slope-intercept form, identifying your slope and your y-intercept, and graphing. This one shouldn't take too long. Right? First thing we have to do, solve for y. I am going to add 4x first. 5y comes down. 4x is there. You cannot combine that with the 10, so you leave them both. Divide both sides by 5, and divide everything on the right side by 5. Y equals 4/5 x plus 2. That's my slope-intercept form. My slope is 4/5. My y-intercept is 2. That gives us everything we need to graph. Start with the y-intercept. That's going to be 2. So on the y-axis, it's positive. My slope is 4/5, so I will go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. All right. You could also go down 4. Left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, either way works. But once you have that, draw yourself a nice big line that goes all the way across the graph. Throw some arrows on the end. Call it done. Okay, I know I went through that quickly. I apologize, but if you do have questions after watching this video, bring them to me on Monday. I'm not moving the quiz. Quiz is going down on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend.